Well, with COVID cases on the rise across Indiana, we're talking with our panel today about the state's response to this new phase of the pandemic, joined today by Jennifer Wagner, Mike Murphy, Robin Winston, Tony Samuel. We are hearing more, guys, about these breakthrough cases. I can personally attest that they are happening. That's why I'm here at home, fortunately doing okay, very mild symptoms, very thankful to be vaccinated. But, in recent days, we've been hearing about more of these kinds of cases, right? Coach Frank Reich, the new IU president, Senator Lindsey Graham. So, Jennifer, I'll start with you here. What does the CDC need to do at this point in terms of messaging about these new concerns?
Well, I'm not a medical doctor, so probably not in a position to give the CDC too much advice, other than from what I do for a living in communications, is just to keep up that steady drumbeat of information. People should probably go back to wearing masks if they're in that risk group. And for heaven's sakes, y'all, go out there, get the shot. We're halfway there as a country, but we have halfway to go.
Mike, we're seeing more people go get the vaccine here in recent days because of this surge. You expect to see that continue?
Yes, I think so. I think people are getting scared when they realize that, oh my gosh, I haven't gotten it. Now people who got it are getting it. I have to go out and get it. But I will say I'm very impressed with the governor's messaging, his consistency. And that's really all about what it is. It's about consistently putting your message out there and not flipping back and forth. And you go back to May of last year and May of 2020, you move forward to this year. He's been pretty consistent because he's following the science. And that's the most important thing.
Robin, at this point, what are you hoping to hear from our state leaders here in Indiana and also from the Biden administration and the CDC?
Well, I hope that our state leaders continue to do like Mike said. And since Republicans believe in smaller government, leave it to the local school boards, leave it to the local communities to make their decisions. Don't have people go and interrupt their meetings and try to disrupt things. The governor has set a good tone, and he knows that. Rainwater got 11% of the vote last time, running basically against masks. This governor has been resolute, putting public health, public safety first. I think that's admirable in a bipartisan manner.
Tony, on that question of local control, you had former Surgeon General Jerome Adams this week come out and criticize some of the states for, in his words, taking tools away from public health officials, referring to some of the southern states where mask mandates have actually been banned in some cases. And even this week, Arkansas's governor now says he regrets making that move.
Well, let me address that by going back to your CDC question. The CDC has been back and forth on issues. They're not revealing everything that they should to the general public, and that makes the public distrustful of the CDC and of other leaders like Fauci. And let me explain what I'm talking about. There is natural immunity, and there are studies that have been ongoing for months and recent studies that show that 95% of folks that have had COVID previously have antibodies that are lasting and strong in the system, in your body, up to 8 months after having COVID. Those folks that have natural immunity, along with the folks that have the immunity from vaccine, that's a huge segment of our population. What the CDC is doing wrong, what the Biden administration is doing wrong, is pitting people against each other, the vaccinated against the unvaccinated. It's not a vaccinated versus unvaccinated. It's a immunity versus non-immunity, and we have to recognize the folks that have had COVID, which could be up to almost half of the country. Countries like Germany are recognizing that, and we need to as well.
Jennifer, I want to get your response to that. And in terms of CDC messaging, as Tony mentioned there, calling it back and forth in his words, to some degree, the CDC obviously has to evolve here as conditions change on the ground, do they not?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say is, look, this thing has evolved from day one, from the first time we figured out what it was. And yes, there were mistakes made along the way. Remember, we were bumping elbows at one point, but we're not doing that anymore. That's the whole point. We keep studying this. We keep looking at it. The guidance does change. That doesn't mean it's wrong.
All right. Today, we are also following some of the latest developments on the infrastructure bill this weekend. We're going to have more of that coming up on Fox News Sunday and on Face the Nation, and a busy weekend there in Washington. We're also talking about some of the crime concerns here in Indianapolis with another year of record-breaking violence in our city. The mayor, the FOP president, back and forth this week on the issue of crime prevention, and also some of these situations involving early release. Russ McQuaid has more.
The pandemic.
After taking office in 2016, Joe Hogsett said that for 4 years, crime was on its way down. But just after he was sworn in for a second term last year, the COVID pandemic hit. Society was knocked on its heels. Police officers and community groups couldn't go one-on-one in the neighborhoods with the residents and the people most likely to victimize them, and violent crime exploded. Homicides are up right now, 34% over a year ago, and 2020 set a record for murder in Indianapolis. Non-fatal shootings are way up too, but the mayor says the last year and a half has been a statistical and violence outlier compared to other Indy crime trends. I asked the mayor if he could defend his crime-fighting track record in the wake of skyrocketing violence statistics.
Indianapolis is an extraordinarily safe city. Most of Indianapolis neighborhoods are extraordinarily safe. But what we're really talking about is a high percentage of the gun violence in our city is being committed by compared to 900,000 residents, it's being committed by an extraordinarily low number of individuals. And those are the individuals that we have to get off the street.
A recent study for IMPD looked at how many murders or shootings involve people who were back out on the streets after a judge put them on GPS monitoring.
12 to 15% of those victims and suspects in both non-fatal shootings and murders were on some sort of community release.
The Fraternal Order of Police has called for a judicial review of Marion County's home detention monitoring system, and the mayor agrees.
I welcome a review that would help any aspect of our criminal justice system,
including input or money from the State House to help Indianapolis curb its violent crime epidemic.
And I think that it's time, with the public safety crisis continuing to surge, that we take a look down at the other side of Market Street and ask for some guidance and some collaboration with the state legislature to see if we can work with them to get this fixed.
Okay, Russ McQuaid reporting there. Mike Murphy, I'll start with you to get some reaction. You're a former state lawmaker. Anything the state can or should do, and what's your response to Mayor Hogsett there? He took some criticism this week for calling Indy an extraordinarily safe city right now.
Well, let's start with my good friend Mayor Hogsett, who is a good guy. He's just way over his head and lacks any ability to lead. He says this city is so safe. Well, sure, it's safe in Meridian Hills area, in Gritty and Kessler. Most Hoosiers, most Indianapolis residents can't afford to live in that neighborhood, right? We have to live in the real city where crime is happening and people are dying. Now, the question is, should the governor get involved? Well, he could follow Evan Bayh's example. In the late 80s, early 90s, can't remember exactly what year it was, he sent the state police in to take over Gary, and they got the crime rate down. The governor has that ability. He should just push Joe Hogsett out of the way and make this city safe.
Robin, what's your response to that?
Well, I don't agree with Mike on everything he said, but I do remember that Evan Bayh did send troops walking, and they were state troopers walking down Broadway in Gary. But the key thing was, it was at the behest of local leadership that wanted to partner. This thing is bigger than just the city of Indianapolis. You have drugs and weapons coming in here from other places. We have got to approach this holistically. We've got to expand. And I agree with those who said, look at the other end of Market Street to be a partner in reducing this, because this is the capital city. It is the center of the state. And as it goes, so does a lot of our state. So I think it's absolutely important that the mayor continue to reach out, that we address some of the systemic issues that do include things like bond and how people are on home detention and how they are being tracked by GPS systems. But we've got to collaboratively work together. It's not just one mayor trying to deal with an issue. This has got to be expanded. And I hope and trust that the mayor will do that.
Robin mentioned some potential solutions there. Tony, what's the solution here in your view? How do we turn these numbers around?
Well, I agree with, it might be time for the state and for the governor to get involved, because the numbers aren't turning around. Remember, Joe Hogsett ran for re-election after 4 years with a dismal record on crime, ran for re-election like now he was going to fix crime. And he hasn't, homicides are up, all kinds of crime statistics are up. And you can't say most of the city's safe when people still have to go downtown or should go downtown to work or for entertainment reasons, and they can't. I hear, every day practically somebody saying they're afraid to go downtown. So he had no plan. He's going to throw some more money at it, but it's got to be addressing illegal guns and gangs and groups, as they're calling them, that are causing this violence.
Jennifer, quickly, you get the last word here.
Well, I love how y'all are for local control until you're not, as Republicans. But look, I commend the mayor for making the budget request, and we've got to do something, obviously. And I agree with Robin; it should be collaborative.
Okay. Thanks to our panel. They'll be back for this week's winners and losers coming up. We're also going to be talking about another big item in the news this week that could impact Indianapolis down the road when it comes to the NCAA Final Four. Stick around, much more right after this.